Welcome to Work the Left Side. I'm hyped to announce tonight's guest is the artist formerly known as Sigma, the one, the only, Chris Mason. Sir, how are we doing, mate? Are you good?
I'm doing absolutely great. Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be on here.
Dude, thank you for coming on. Obviously, that's the first thing I should be saying is, always appreciate people's times. You guys do this. Sit down with me for an hour and chat wrestling, it's appreciated. So thank you as well. But yeah, obviously, I wanted to. It's no secret. It's been all over my socials the last few months. I've started going to UKW every Friday. I kind of went initially because the brand were there. I know those guys. Those guys are awesome.
I love working the brand.
Mate, they're just amazing. They kind of messaged like, well, I'm literally like 10 minutes away from you. You've got to come and see us. I was like, yeah, all right, fair enough. I can't say no to that. So I was like, right, I'll go along. We'll watch the brand. But then I've been back every Friday since. So, that speaks volumes for, and they haven't been there every week since. So I'm not just going to see them, after that first week, after the first couple of weeks, I've got to see, a whole list of just awesome people. You got what the UKW classes, the big names, but then you've got this amazing wealth of just youth just coming up now, and it's just mind blowing, mate. And obviously, yeah, you're part of that journey. It's crazy.
Yeah, thank you, man. We've got a very rich roster coming up. Like we've got people like, he's been there for a while, but we've got people like Joe Sedgwick on the roster. We've got people like Sean Sedgwick coming up. A lot of Sedgwicks. We've got Sam Cavelli. I have to shout out Sam Cavelli because he's one of my close friends. Like outside of the business, I grew quite fond to him when he first started training. But getting to tag with him for that little bit on Ignite as well, that was sick. Yeah. But he's definitely going places, and I know he's not like a UKW mainstay, but KT Gold as well. Managing to get him in, I love a bit of KT Gold. But it's a very blessed period for UKW, in my opinion, with all the people coming up through the academy. And there's quite a few that you won't have seen, obviously, because they're not there yet. But we've got a lot of great people coming up as well.
That's the thing, man, because, it's not... I don't know if it's just coincidence or, if I'm imagining things, but I know I'm not because, like I said, I started going to UKW, and then a month or so into it, I brought my mate along with me. The week later, he came back. He brought his eldest with him, and it's kind of growing. They've went to the hallowed grounds show on a Saturday night kind of thing. That's how impressed they were. They went to the first pay-per-view that they could. But the last few weeks I've been there, the audience seems to be growing. It seems to be this word of mouth, and it's not to besmirch anyone that kind of came before or what's happening before. But like you've just sort of said, obviously there's you, there's Sam. KT Gold as well. Loved his matches with Sam recently. But then, yeah, like I say, Cedric, Mercer, Bishop, Hunter, the brand, Firing Squad, when they were working against 21 Union and the brand. Ruby, it's just Cliff Harrison, Rebus Kane when he's there. It's just, it's the next gen guys that just seem to be pushing. I think everybody else is kind of having to level up as well because you guys are just turned up and making it look so good. Maybe the old faces have been like, oh, shit, we need to up our game a little bit now as well.
Naturally that just makes it a better product though. It makes it such a better landscape for it as well. Like when everyone's trying to one up each other, the sportsmanship, it's not a hostile thing. It's a collaborative effort to make it all like look better. And it's obviously working because we're getting a lot more asses in seats. We're getting a lot more people coming down, and it's blessed to see because being able to come out on Showdown and seeing all the kids and seeing like everyone genuinely invested in the story that we're putting out it's so nice to see because it's a small area in Batley. Like it's not very well known, but the fact that we're starting to bring in such a big audience, it's quite nice to see.
So it's not just me, is it? The audience has grown over the last few months. It's not my imagination.
It's got quite big, actually. I remember this time last year when I first debuted, it was nowhere near as big, and I've obviously been in the academy for a long time, so I've seen it like grow progressively more and more and more. And I thought it was all right last year, but this year it's just doubled.
Dude,
it's crazy.
Again, just speaks volumes. I mean, you mentioned the academy there. That kind of cues me up for the generic question of, what made you start going to the academy? What made you kind of realize or think, I can do this. I want to do this. Let's crack on.
Well, I've had like a very long love story with wrestling. I first started like properly getting into it when I was 5. That was 2012. So that was like prime Super Cena era. I was such a John Cena mark when I was a kid as well. So like there's the generic superheroes like that kind of like influenced me to want to get into it and seeing stuff like that. But it was always like it seems like a generic answer, but it was just such a spectacle. And like even at 5 years old watching it, I was like, there's nothing else that I can do. Like it has to be this. And I've been so dedicated with it like for so long. Like I started training when I was 9 years old. So this year in September, I've just hit 8 years in training with it. So it's been a long time, and I was like, it was such a coincidence that we found UKW as well. So I'm a full-on homegrown talent from UKW, and I'm really, really thankful for the opportunities that they've given me. But my mum and dad were just walking around Batley one day, and they were like, no way is that a wrestling place that's just opened up in Batley, 5 minutes away. So they took me there. They signed me up, literally took me there the next day. And from then, I've just weekly never stopped going. I've just been putting in the work. And then, like, the drive to continue it especially came when I was on shows. More so like recently as well, because I debuted as a face. I was the face of the next generation. I was Sigma, and it was nice to do that because Sigma was something that I built when I was like 10, and like seeing it on shows and seeing it against people like Joe Sedgwick and Cliff Harrison and that first feud that I ever had with Mercer, it was nice, and it was nice to see people actually getting it behind it the way that I imagined they would. And the main thing for me was the kids getting behind it, because it's such a special feeling to be able to like influence someone. Like when I'd be on a show and then I'd come to training and some of the kids that were at the show were at training, they're like, oh, Sigma, you were sick, and they're dapping me up, and I'm like soaking it all in, and it just feels really nice. But I always tell myself, like, it can't just be a coincidence that 10 minutes away from my house a wrestling place opened up that has all this opportunity, that has all this like young fresh talent, and even people that have left there and moved on now, like the talent that was there. It's like it was such there's no way that it was a coincidence. Like I've always wanted to do it, and I feel like everything's just lining up to be there. So I've just never stopped the dream, and I've just kept going for it, and it's obviously getting me into good places.
That's it. I mean, that's you sort of said, the talent that came before. That's why I had to be careful, kind of how I worded, just how cool it is now and kind of the momentum it's got now. I don't want to be smirched, guys like Hamza, Mo, the Ellis. I mean, I'm obviously really close with the Blackheart guys. And one of them sort of said, without UKW, there would be no Blackheart, because a lot of the guys there will obviously have spent time at UKW years ago. So it's always had this history, this talent, but it's just kind of like, I don't know if it was just never just this amount at one time, all together, like lightning in a bottle. That's the only way I can describe you guys. But yeah, like I said, it's just sounds like it's fate, mate. Like I said, this place opens up 10 minutes away from you. You've got this drive and this passion. But that makes all the sense in the world now, sort of saying, you start at that age. Because obviously I'm sat there and I'm watching, like, I know this kid's, young. He must only be like, I was thinking like, he must only be like a year or two, like, along the road. I was like, dude, he's crazy good. If he's only been doing it for like a year or two, it's still, still crazy good. But it kind of makes a little bit more sense now. Yeah, you're nearly coming up on, 10 years worth of experience. But in such like a young body, mind, and soul, mate, it just flows.
I mean, to put it in a crazy perspective, when I first started training at UKW, Leon Slater was there, and he was 13 years old when I started, and now he's X Division champion on WWE. So, like, I've done my time. I won't say that I'm perfect, but I've done my time. I've definitely put in the work, and it's crazy to see guys like that like come and go. Like that's the closest experience that I have to it. Like one day, whether I make it or not, I could be like, I've been in person with Leon Slater, and I watched him go from UKW to TNA and just blow that shit off. Like skyrocket, knock it out of the park. And I'm like I love a lot of the guys that have been there. I've got really strong connections with a lot of the people because I feel like they saw the dedication when I was there. Like I have to give a lot of credit to Joe, to Jayrow Lewis, Cayman Carlisle, Ellis Barker, because like, mainly, especially Ellis and Cayman and Jayrow, because they really took me under their wing when I first started. So like when I was coming up, they always made the time for me. I don't want to like make it seem like I care less about Ellis and Cayman, but Jayrow was really there for me. Like he was always under like I was always under his influence. He was always giving me like neat little like picky bits, and I was like really learning a lot from Jayrow. Like he always had the time for me, and he's so good. Like people can say what they want about him. I will always mark out for Jayrow. Like and being able to connect with him again outside of UKW. Like I remember being 13 when Playtime Mafia first started, and it's the same with Cayman. I remember being like, "Oh, let me in the collective," and "Oh, let me in Playtime Mafia," and now I'm at a spot where it's possible that in the future I could be going against like a collective and a Playtime Mafia, and it's just really special, especially to just connect with these people again, because Cayman was on his way out as I was on my way in at UKW, and now I'm in a feud with him at Blackheart. I mean, he's a dick for attacking me from behind, but you got to do what you got to do. I'm still 2-1 on him. 2-1, kinda 2-1.
Yeah, we'll take it. Yeah.
Like I recently started training at FCB in Bradford, and Jayrow trains there a lot, and he was the one who convinced me to go down. And I got in the ring with him for the first time since I was like 11, and it's like we didn't even skip a beat. So I'm really excited to work with like these new names, like Billy O'Keefe. I've never got to work with Billy. I'm excited to work with Luca Brigante. Actually, I've seen some of his stuff. I'm actually really excited to work with him. But also being able to work with the guys that I never got the chance to because they left before I started, like Henry Winter. Love Henry Winter, and he's such a sound guy backstage as well. I absolutely love him. He's the one who gave me the opportunity at Blackheart as well, so I'm really thankful for that. But UKW is my home. Like a lot of the people there really started me out. Like I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for UKW. Like if I made it to TNA or WWE, like it all starts at UKW because they gave me the chance. They saw this 9-year-old who was dedicated, and they could have just put me to the side. They could have just, let me be me, let me be the kid bouncing around on a Saturday. But they put the effort in, and it's obviously paid off.
Oh God, yeah, dude, definitely. Like I sort of said, just seeing you in that ring, it's just you're years ahead of where you should be, age-wise. I don't think it's coincidence. I know anybody who's watching this, if they follow, the Work the Left Side page on Facebook, I've been doing all these polls recently, getting ready for the end of year awards. And I previously I did like a breakout, but I thought it was confusing people that didn't quite understand it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do like a future award. It's like main eventers of the future, stars of the future kind of thing. And I'm looking through like all that list. And obviously, you're in there. But I think you are the youngest person in there, sort of by far. Maybe obviously Ruby's in there as well, but everybody else besides yourself and Ruby, I think everybody has got at least 4 or 5 years on you, kind of thing. And again, that just speaks volumes. Where you are now at this age.
It helps that I have a lot of love for the game, but I remember you sending me the picture of it. Like we didn't have each other on Facebook at the time. You sent me the picture, and I was geeking. I was like, "Oh yeah, future star! I'm making it. I'm out here. I'm putting my name on the map." And I instantly joined that group, and I shared it on Facebook. I was like marking out. Oh, it's so great to see people like appreciating what I'm doing, because I do get into my own head a little bit about my abilities. So it's nice now, like that my name's getting out a little bit more, that people are coming to me and saying like, no, you are doing great. So it's a nice reality check when I'm in my own head saying like, you could be better, because I'm so bad for that.
Dude, it's finding that balance, isn't it? I mean, you always it's okay to think you can be better, because that's what you need, that to improve. You know, you need that for that drive. But you can't think it too much, because then you start beating yourself up and you start giving up, and it's just kind of like, yeah, you know, you just kind of got to find that balance of, right, I can do better. I'm pretty freaking awesome though, but I can be better. You know, you've got to look at it that way, instead of being like, oh, I'm not very good, I can be better. No, 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 you're awesome, but there's always room. You know, you can be better, and that's what,
Yeah.
you know. I've spoken, you know, doing this. I've spoken to people like 1 year into the journey. I've spoken to people like 20 years into the journey. And the key thing is, nobody ever stops learning. Everybody always wants to be better. You know, if you're a wrestler, you never complete it. You never learn everything. There's always something. You know, you think you can know everything, and then sort of Billy Bob comes in, does a move you've never seen before. And it's like, oh shit, what was that? Okay, cool, cool, cool. Come here, show me. It's just,
It's a very tough game. It's a very competitive game. There's always room for improvement, and I I do take things on the chin, and I like to think that I improve when I get along, when I go along. Cause like in training, I do keep myself very dedicated, and I like to listen, and like I study tape a lot, but I'm not talking about the, oh, I watch, this new stuff. I've been studying like WCW because my dad got me into it really early. Like I'm watching stuff like Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit. I'm watching stuff like Jushin Thunder Liger. Like I'm keeping an eye on these guys, like really young Eddie Guerrero, like Rey Mysterio Jr. Like I love the psychology in old matches. It's so crisp. Like you don't need to do a lot to do more.
Halloween Havoc '97. I want to say Mysterio versus Eddie. Still one of the
I
greatest
have a
matches.
fun story about that. The first time me and Cliff Harrison ever worked each other, he came to me at training and said, "Have you ever watched that match?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "We should steal the start of it." So we basically took the entire start of that and just put it straight into our match. And it was fun. It was so fun. I have all the love in the world for Cliff. Cliff's like a big brother for me. I mean, I'm breaking kayfabe, but like Cliff is he's genuinely like an actual brother to me.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. You know, obviously, I want to talk about you. I want to hype you up as well, but I would be amiss if we don't talk about, well, you just, yeah, relationships, how you get on with other people and stuff. So I'm going to rewind, because you mentioned Jayrow. I
Absolutely.
love Jayrow. I think Jayrow's boss. You know, doesn't get appreciated as much as he should. You know, he's on par with a lot of everybody else who's kind of getting pushes, or, you know, being seen in more places. And for me, Jayrow needs to be in more places. The guy's awesome. But yeah, you know, if he's imparting words of wisdom to you, there's nothing bad about that. You know, you can only get better by listening to Jayrow, kind of thing. And like I said, now you're at Blackheart, mate, you're rubbing shoulders with him again, and it's just kind of like, it's got to be exciting.
It is. It's so nice to see him again. Like even just outside of a wrestling aspect, it feels like I haven't seen him in ages, and now we're like working shows with each other, and we get to banter backstage for the first time, and like it's a really nice experience to share that with him, especially because he brought me up essentially. Like he gave me that stepping stone to be where I am today. Like he he did so much for me, and it's nice to be able to share a locker room with him again.
Yeah. Ellis as well is another guy who I have nothing but love and appreciate. Ellis Barker is one of the greatest minds in wrestling. I know so many people, obviously great in the ring as well, but it's one of those guys I've heard people sort of say, like, you know, if they were running a promotion, man, I want Ellis, you know, by my side, you know, giving me advice or giving me ideas for stories or for psychology, for this, that, and the other. So yeah, again, just somebody else who you're only going to get better by picking his brain.
I absolutely love Ellis in the same way that I love Jayrow, because it's a similar story. It'd be the same if we brought up Cayman as well. Like, it's such a similar story because all three of them were really integral into like my early stages. But Ellis Barker, like, I have all the respect in the world for him because not only is he just a sound dude, like you're never going to have a bad thing to say about him. But when I was first starting out, I think I debuted February last year, and it only took a month for him to say I want to return to UKW so I can have a match with him. And I was like, I felt like so honoured that he'd go out of his way just to come back and have a match with me. And since then, we've had 3 singles matches with each other, and I've loved every single one of them. They've all been great.
That's it. That's just like a training session and a learning experience in front of an audience, where you just can't help but finish those matches a better wrestler than when you went in. If you were in there with Ellis, it's just I say those guys are amazing. Cliff, obviously, a massive mark for Cliff.
Absolutely love Cliff.
He's one of the ones that I listed. I put on Facebook a while ago. Like, whenever I always kind of get excited on a Friday, like before I go to UKW, they'll announce the card like about 1 o'clock-ish for like matches for that night. And I kind of got like a checklist. There's like about 10 people on this checklist, and if I can get like at least 5 of those people being on the show, I'm happy. I'm hyped. I'm like, yes, this is going to be a great show. And obviously, Cliff's one of those 10. Yourself, obviously, is. Majority of people that we mentioned earlier, you're all like the super 10 for me. Like, if I see those guys on a show, I'm like, yes, right, this is going to be a great show. But yeah, Cliff, again, obviously, I know Blackheart. As soon as you turn up at Blackheart, I was like, oh, Mason's at Blackheart. And it's Cliff. It's like you and Cliff, just kind of like, I don't know, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. You guys are just destined to fight forever.
Absolutely.
Everywhere.
I mean, I teamed with him for a year, and it was such a like thrown into the situation type thing because I was new on shows, and I wasn't picking it up very fast because I thought I need to go 100 miles per hour. I need to, do this, and then they came up to me with the idea of, do you want to turn heel and join Breaking Bone Studios with Mercer and Cliff so they can like help you out? They can, tutor you a little bit. So I've got all the respect in the world again for Mercer and Cliff because, like, especially with Mercer, like he could have easily said, "No, I'm not working with the new guy." Like he could have easily said that, but he ended up having a 3-month rivalry with me. Well, 2-month rivalry with me when I first debuted. 2 pay-per-view matches. He put me over in my first match. Like, I'll always have respect for Mercer, but Cliff, man, just something about when I was tagging with him and the way like he speaks, I just get it. Like everything just came so naturally with Cliff. And teaming with him was one of the highlights of my time. Like, we obviously became 2-time UKW champions, so I won my first ever championship with Cliff, which is really special. And just teaming with him, man, it's like all so fluid. And we'd had matches before, and every one of them were just 30 bangers. Like we were putting on match of the night type stuff, and then we were teaming, and then like from like my friends and kids in the crowd, we heard murmurs of like, "Oh, I want to see Cliff and Sigma. I want to see Cliff and Sigma," and I was like in this weird spot around about March where people started cheering for me and they started cheering for Breaking Bones, and then we got brought the idea we want to break up Breaking Bones Studios and we want to run Cliff versus Sigma, and I was like, it sucks to see it go, but it's going to be such a great moment for like everyone watching. So then WrestleBration came around and I was really emotional because I've loved teaming with Cliff, like, and I hated to see it go because it was something that I genuinely enjoyed, and I love tag wrestling, and being able to do that with someone who, like, you just gel with, and even like backstage, someone who's like a brother to you. Like when we put on that showdown match against 21 Union, it was genuinely one of the highlights in my career. And then he hit me with the Maria, and I was just lying there on the mat, and I hear everyone gasp, and I hear like Cliff could have killed my nan. It could have been that bad, but I was like, we're going to go into Aftermath and we're going to kill it. And that's exactly what we did. And then from there, my name just went. So I've got to thank Cliff for that as well, because it takes two to dance, and he really put me over in that match as well. But he allowed me to go from Sigma to Chris Mason. Like, he was a great stepping stone for it. And we're just forever destined to fight, because we were like, yeah, we'll have a match or two. And then I ended up having a match with him at Aftermath, and then at Blackheart, and then on Showdown, and then again and again in the cage. And it's never going to get boring for me. Like, I could fight Cliff for the rest of my career and I'd be happy. But we are hoping to team again somewhere down the line. He's probably going to kick my ass for saying it, but we've had the idea for a very long time to team again. It's just finding the place to do it.
Yeah, it's just, I suppose, obviously, as you guys sort of do your thing, word of mouth, people start talking about it, you start getting bookings on other shows. That's the great thing about British wrestling. You can be heel in one promotion, facing another promotion. You can be in a tag team here. You can be enemies there, kind of thing. So, who's to say, 6 months down the line, you guys don't get approached by another promotion, be like, right, we want to bring you in. We want to bring you in as a team. You'd be like, yes, there you go. So jobs are good.
Exactly. And we're both excited for the day. We've been cooking this up since Breaking Bones, since we knew that we were going to split up. We were like, we are going to tag again. It's going to happen.
Mate, we were together, actually, because obviously you mentioned the Sigma thing there, something you created. How I heard it was like the character you created when you was like a kid kind of thing, and then obviously you get into wrestling. So once you start, like you say, you're doing your training and this, that, and the other, you're doing it through the academy, you start stepping out in front of an audience. As soon as you kind of knew you was going out in front of an audience and you was working on the character, has it always been Sigma from day one then? Has this kind of been like, right, I came up with this years ago, I need to bring it to life?
Well, the kind of long story towards it, but when I was 10, I started, like, there was a lot of academy shows back then, and I was like just figuring out my character, just figuring out what I want to be. And I was called the Demolitioner for a very long time. And it was Jayrow that came up to me and said, "Why are you called the Demolitioner?" I said, because I found it on 2K. And he said, "Do you demolish anything?" I said, "No, not really." He said, "You need to change your name then." So I went, I should probably change my name. So around that time, I was a huge mark for Kenny Omega. Like, I'd only just discovered him. And my dad was like, well, he uses Omega. Like, that's Greek alphabet. Just choose something from the Greek alphabet. So I went, all right. Bang. That logo looks cool. That name sounds cool. Originally, it was like Finn Balor with a demon face paint. So, like, I was 10 years old putting on this face paint, going to academy shows, thinking I was some sort of Finn Balor. But then it grew into more of the scrappy underdog babyface, which I ended up loving. And then just as I was about to get on shows and I'd paid 360 quid for gear, Sigma became one of the biggest memes that I've ever seen in my entire life. And I was like, I've just bought £300 of gear and I'm about to step on shows as Sigma. And I'm not going to lie, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but I have come out a few times with kids singing Sigma Boy to me. And I was like, I can't keep this forever. It was, again, another conversation I had with someone. It was Liam Slater this time, where it was like, eventually you are going to have to change your name. And I'm sorry for going off track, but Liam Slater, man, what a guy. Genuinely, like, one of the greatest minds for wrestling that I've ever seen. But we were talking, and I'd already had an idea of, like, a name that I wanted to change it to, which was obviously, it started out as Christopher Blue, because the name is a tribute to my granddad, because he died when I was quite young. So I wanted to be Christopher Blue because his nickname was Blue and his name was Christopher. But I just thought, it doesn't really work that well, and we kept changing it, and then it turned to Chris Mason. So it's his name and my name. And I just thought, fuck yeah, Chris Mason, it's like it's quite a shoot name, and it's like it's out there. It's like it's something nice that can keep in someone's head. Like I doubt someone at True Grit's gonna go, yeah, we'll have Sigma on our show. Yeah, we'll get Sigma on there. But Chris Mason, like I don't think it'll get lost in a crowd, and it feels better coming out hearing Chris Mason. Like not only because it's my granddad's name, but because it's like something new. It's more mature. It's more grown up, and it's like a new chapter for me. And like there's a lot of tributes to my family. The blue in my gear is also for my granddad. But the headbutt, the torpedo Moscow I do is called the COE, and not a lot of people know what it stands for, but it actually stands for "Come On Eileen" because that is my grandma's song, and she passed away just before I started getting on shows. So I thought I had to do something for her, and I ended up naming it the COE, and it's just gone from there.
Dude, that's awesome.
But
I love
Sigma
those
was
little
like, yeah, it was not a good time.
Mate, I like the name personally, but it's worked really well in the sense of, like sort of said, it's kind of made the rivalry with you and Cliff like even more intense. You know, it's kind of like, you know, I was Sigma, but you know what, Sigma ain't going to cut it. Now I need to be Chris Mason. You know, this is, you know, Sigma did its job, but no, mate, I'm annoyed now. I'm pissed off. You know, you've leveled up. I guess Chris Mason needs to handle stuff now. So it just makes it even more like intense. It's just, I think it worked really well. I was there when you cut that promo. I was just like, yeah, there we go. You know, the boy becomes a man. You know, this is it now. He's just fueled.
I was really happy with that promo, actually. I remember watching it back. I had my girlfriend with me, and I was watching it back, and I was marking for myself. I bet I look like a right weirdo. I was like, yeah, you spit on the mic. CM Punk who? CM Punk ain't got nothing on me.
Oh, but dude, yeah, just quickly sort of say as well, never ever apologize. You know, you want to start talking about Liam Slater, you sidebar all you want, talk about anything you want. You know, the less I have to talk, the better. But as soon as you start talking about Liam Slater, mate, I'm just like, he's one of my all-time favorites. He's one of my goats. You know, in British wrestling, like you sort of said, the dude's just got a mind for the business. It's just crazy. It's Liam Slater, for God's sake. Say no more.
It's weird, like, well, not weird, but it's amazing how easy it comes to him. Like, the promos that he posts on his social media, like, I'll watch them and I'm just like, how can someone come up with that? Or like, I'll watch his tech clips and I'll watch some of his old matches. Or like when I've only done 2 one-on-one sessions with him so far, and I'm hoping to get down to PPW more. It's just a money issue because I am quite young, but I'm hoping to get down to PPW more. But like he's just got it. Like he is the coach. He is genuinely the coach. Like, if you haven't got a session with Liam, I'd advise getting at least one session down with Liam because your mindset on wrestling is just going to change completely. Like this guy, like he doesn't even need to, but he'll take the time out of his day to go back and forth with me on messages and give me advice and like, you know, tell me genuinely valuable things and help me question things without it sounding like your shit, mate. It's like, so why are we doing this? And then it helps you realize by yourself, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. And you can like pick it up yourself. He's so easy and he's so sound. Like I'll never have anything bad about it, bad to say about him.
No, same goes. Like I say, you know, anybody who knows me knows of my appreciation. But yeah, that's the important thing as well. Like I always kind of, when you know, I can only speak from this side of the curtain. Everything I say or my perspective is always, you know, as a fan. But when it comes to wrestling, I think that's one of the best questions anybody can ask about anything is why. You know, I love stories. I love things like that in wrestling. You know, I mean, I will take a show that's got 3 or 4 stories going on over a show that's just full of exhibition matches, because whilst that's going to be great and, you know, I'll be thoroughly entertained, I won't be emotionally invested. I get emotionally invested in stories, but the story's got to make sense. You know, it's kind of like sort of said, why is my character doing this, or why are they doing this, or what's the stakes? You know, what's does it matter? It's like, oh shit, okay, now it matters, but why does it matter?
I mean, just to bring it back to UKW, I think that's something that we do really well, which stands us apart from different like wrestling promotions. Because I know there's not a lot of wrestling promotions that do the weekly shows. Like we've got 2 shows a week, we've got a pay-per-view every month, and it is really hard because we do have lives. It is like we have work, we have family, but um it all just gels so nice, and the stories that we can put out, like the way that you can make people feel with like in my case, I'm just a kid from Batley. Like I'm nobody when I walk through the streets, but as soon as I get into that arena and like I walk out and I'm on a pay-per-view and there's kids genuinely excited just to see me, like the way that we can write stories and make people feel, it's really amazing in my opinion.
I fully agree with you, mate. I was going to ask at some point. You kind of just, seeing as you just mentioned it, that the UKW thing is really unique, as you sort of said, because it's the only promotion that I know of. I know it's not the only one, but within the area that I kind of watch wrestling around, it's the only one that I know of. I say that's got 2 shows a week that go out on YouTube, that are openly available for people to watch on YouTube, either live or afterwards. And then you've got your monthly pay-per-view. As somebody in the academy, as somebody who's coming out, somebody stepping into that ring for the first time, mate, that's just, I mean, stepping in front of a live audience is one thing. That's crazy. But to know it's kind of got this YouTube thing, like it's televised, basically. You're stepping out in front of TV cameras. YouTube is a TV channel nowadays. So yeah, that's just, does that not just add like more pressure to it, or is it just kind of like it is what it is? Does it just crack on?
It at first it was quite intimidating because I'd not been in that situation, and obviously it was the first place that I was in. And like, believe it or not, when you're in the ring, even just working the crowd can like tire you out. But like when you debut, you're going a million miles per hour anyway. But in my head, I was like, right, hard cam, right, this camera needs to see something. These people need to see something. There needs to be a story here, and that's like quite scary. But then again, like being in the ring with people like Mercer who took me like first, he like we have people who can help you out and help you slow down. People who just naturally get it. Because like you look at people at our place like Cliff, like Joe, like Mercer, like Bishop, like Hunter, who just get it. Like they can go out there and it's like the cameras aren't even there. Or it's like the cameras are the best friend. Like it's really amazing to see, and I like to think that I've got better at it. Sometimes it does still like intimidate me because I'll just randomly zone in and be like, "There's a lot of people watching this. I can't fuck up." Like it gets to me when I botch or when I like forget a spot. Like it can get to me because I know there's so many eyes on me.
Dude, what I'm going to say is it probably won't mean anything, but I've said this to people before where, they're on about like, oh, during the match, this went wrong, or, the footwork wasn't right, or wasn't quite smooth, or, and they're talking about matches that I've seen, and I'll be sat there like, mate, we could not tell. We had no idea. As fans, we're sat there watching it like, this is amazing. You guys are doing stuff that we can't do. You've messed up. But as long as you don't stop in the middle of a match and go, oh, no, I messed up, win on the riser. You just crack on and just get to the next part. And it's just like, but yeah, obviously in your head, you're beating yourself up. But as a fan, we're just like, we've got no idea. We're still just loving it.
Yeah.
So remember that. You might obviously know you've messed up. But us, mate, we're clueless. We've got no idea you've messed up. So just, enjoy it.
It is. It is. It's hard to not think like that in wrestling, though. Obviously, because it is quite competitive, and it's so easy to compare yourself to other people as well. Like as much as we can say that, like for my age, I'm quite advanced. It's still my age. Like there are still people 4 years ahead of me. So like people like Joe, who was just so effortlessly clean in the ring, like seeing him do that, it's like easy for me to say, well, I wish I could do that. Like I should be there, but like Joe's on another level.
I've never asked this, but all right, just for comparison's sake, then how old is Joe?
Joe, I'm pretty sure is around like 21, 20.
Right, so yeah, it's just like it's got 4 years on you.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude. Right, mate. 4 years time, you're going to be super smooth. You're going to be smoother than silk.
I would hope so.
It's all good. But yeah, I mean, for a 21-year-old, still obviously it's impressive. But yeah, no, I totally get it, dude. Like you sort of said, I hear the word a lot in like imposter syndrome, people second guessing themselves, and like I sort of said to you earlier, it's really thin line to kind of walk, where you always kind of want to improve, or you can do better, but you can't beat yourself up too much about it. But you don't want to get stuck in that loop. It's just a loop of negativity, man, and nobody needs that. So I'll say it to you, mate. I'll say it every day if needs be. You're awesome. You're great at what you do. Enjoy it, bask in it. You can see that at the UKW. The fans are so behind you. And you've got them in the palm of your hands as well. Like I said, you're telling stories. People care. As wrestling fans, mate, we're fickle. We're very easy to drop people or criticize people. So if we care about what you're doing, again, that's just something else that speaks volumes. So yeah, we care about you, Chris.
Thank you.
That sounded really like cliched or something, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, like in the best possible way. Obviously, you're doing what you're doing, mate. And you're doing it spot on because you've got us emotionally invested every time you step out in that ring.
Thank you.
And Blackheart wouldn't have invited you over, if you weren't at the top of your game doing what you're doing. Because obviously Blackheart, like you sort of said, the people that are working there, mate, they're just leveling up all the time as well. They're just word spreading about Blackheart as well. I mean, more and more people that I know are now going to Blackheart shows as well. And it's amazing for £5. Guiseley Theatre, the location, it's boss. Trust me, dude, they wouldn't bring anybody in at the minute. That would jeopardize that because they are leveling up every show.
I mean, I must say as well, because I don't feel like I've spoken about enough. I know, like, I'm quite new there, but I'm having so much fun at Blackheart. Like, because it's such a different landscape to UKW. Like, it feels so. It feels the same. It's nice and small. It's like a family, but like it's a completely different crowd, and like it is comforting to know like I can get this crowd and I can get this crowd, and like so something I'm doing must be working. But like their ring is so nice to bump in. I absolutely love bumping in that ring. I mean, I know it's supposed to hurt, but I love bumping in that ring. It feels amazing. But like there's so many great talents everywhere. Blackheart was on my bucket list for a long time. Like same with places like, FCB, like PPW, obviously, like True Grit, like a lot of the local places. But Blackheart has been so fun. I love going there. I love the people. I love Winter. I love Jepson. I love Loz. Love everyone there. Like they're all so nice.
Yeah, no, definitely. And well, Jepson, you kind of, the people who know the people at FCB now as well. So, it is kind of a steady progression from Blackheart over to FCB. There's a lot of crossover appeal. So, mate, it's only a matter of time, I'm sure. And that's the thing. But yeah, Blackheart, I've got to grasp because obviously, again, anybody who knows UKW, or if you haven't watched anything UKW related, the ring is huge. Again, it's the only promotion that I know that's got outside of like the WWE. I think that's got or in Mexico, that's got a 20-foot ring. Mate, it's huge. So you go somewhere like Blackheart, and you're just like, oh mate, this is easy. It's step, bounce, step.
It might seem hard to be working in a 20-foot, but like we train in that 20-foot as well. So it's like nothing to me. But it is so weird going into an 18 or a 16, and like usually I'm used to a 20-mile walk to get to the rope, but like I'm there as soon as I turn around, and it's so nice. I feel like the movement is a lot more fluid, but like I don't really have a preference for a ring. I just I like rings. I just
Yeah.
like it. It's like as long as I'm in a ring, I'm happy.
There you go, mate. I'm still waiting for a British promotion to balls up and not balls up. That sounds like I'm making a mistake. I'm expecting. I just want them to kind of like can't think. I don't want to say man up because I don't want to get shouted at. But I want them to kind of take the bull by the horns and just be a little bit different and go like the TNA route back in the day. I want to see a 6-sided ring in the UK and just to see how people react to it. I mean, that'd be amazing.
But TNA was quite popular in the UK, like way back when. I like to say a lot of people in the UK were like following TNA more than WWE around that time because my
It
dad
was
used to
free.
show me some of the matches.
It was free, mate.
Um,
That's why.
it was like he was heavily into it. So a lot of the stuff, like I also take a lot of inspiration from people like the Amazing Red and people like AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels. Like I love that stuff, man. Um, but seeing a TNA ring would be really, really interesting. And I'd love to wrestle in one as well because it feels so different.
That's it. I mean, obviously, from a fan's perspective, we just talk about. I only bring it up because we talk about rings, like different sizes of rings and stuff, and like how I can only presume how different it is to kind of work on them. But yeah, somebody threw a 6-sided one into the mix. As as a fan, I'd be excited, but as a wrestler, I got to think that you guys would be like, "Oh shit, this is different. This is new." Kind of like sticking your toe in a cold pool, be like, "Not sure about this." But then, yeah, some people will love it, some people will hate it.
I mean, it could be fun. It'd be nice to see an X Division type match in the UK. Somewhere like Progress pulling that out. People like Luke Jacobs and everyone like man like Derice. Something like that would be really fun.
Oh, he's saying that though, man. But you got guys and like guys at UKW, guys at Blackheart, guys at True Grit. If UKW turned around and sort of advertised a show like an Ultimate X style match with Cavelli, Chris Mason, George Hunter, Evan Bishop, Joe Sedgwick, Cliff Harrison, I'm like just mate, I would be all over that, and I would be telling I'll be dragging people to that show to go watch that match.
I mean, maybe they're listening. Well, hopefully they're listening. It could be next WrestleBration match. You never know. Could be. I mean, speaking of that, though, I saw this before I hopped on. UKW's 4th anniversary show this Friday. The Call Your Shot match looks really interesting, in my opinion. I think that looks really interesting. A lot of great people in that match, actually.
I'm devastated because I've been obviously saying like, oh, I'm there every Friday, been loving it. Obviously, True Grit is this Friday, so it's no secret my priorities are always going to be. We sponsor True Grit. I'm going to go to a True Grit show. I will watch obviously the UKW show on YouTube, but mate, yeah, I saw that graphic. I legitimately just went, oh man, for a split second, I was like, oh, I'm good. I'm going to miss. So much talent there, but also Dylan Dyer making his debut on a Friday night. He's been tearing it up on a Monday. I just spoke to Dylan ages ago and got wind that it was over. And I was like, yes, I'll get to see him. But he's only ever been there on a Monday. And then he's there on a Friday this week. And I'm just like, oh.
Well, Dylan Dyer is great. I've had the chance to work him before. He is great. I'm sure that he'll be on Fridays more. But speaking of True Grit, though, 2 UKW boys, Evan Bishop versus George Hunter. That is going to be sick. I mean, I wish I could go watch that. But I'm so proud of both of them. Like, I know he's supposed to be a big bad heel, but Evan Bishop behind the scenes is such a kid. Like, I absolutely love Evan, like, with all my heart. He's like one of my closest friends. He's definitely up there with like Cliff. But I mean, we won't say much, but if you get me and him in a locker room with each other, you're gonna hate us.
Bouncing off the walls. I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been. I don't know if it was Rebus, but somebody was saying, like recently on a show, they kind of like put some like body work or paint work on kind of thing, and it was very K-pop, Demons influenced. And yeah, Evan clocked it straight away. I'm sure it was Rebus. I want to say it definitely was Rebus, and it was just like, yes, you get it, you appreciate. So it's cool that you guys have all kind of got the. Besides wrestling, that's the one thing everybody's got in common. But it seems like a lot of you guys have other stuff outside of wrestling to kind of talk about and have a laugh over.
Yeah, it's a really nice close knit community down at UKW. Like everyone's friends with everyone. It's like, I mean, sorry to break kayfabe. I mean, we don't all hate each other, but it's really nice. It's really nice to be down there because a lot of the people who look after you, there's like, no one's stabbing anyone in the back. No one's, it's all really nice.
Elevating every, you're standing on each other's shoulders to keep getting higher and
We
higher
all
and
want to
higher.
see each other get better. We all want to see each other in other places, which is why I am so proud of George and of Evan to be able to like get on True Grit, especially Evan making his debut on True Grit and
Right.
George making his debut against Nathan Black as well.
That was incredible. I was at York for that one. I popped huge when it's the only time because it was meant to be Nathan versus BA Rose. Again, I love BA Rose. He's one of my favorite guys. And when they announced BA's not there, I was like, oh, and there was like George Hunter. I was like, yes. If anything was going to cheer me up from not seeing BA Rose, it's like, yeah, cool, George Hunter, awesome. Let's do this. The man, the mullet, the mustache, Bosh, it is. So yeah, both of those guys, as you sort of said, cracking. But that just goes to show, like I said, what you guys are doing at UKW and Blackheart as well, because they've both worked Blackheart as well recently. They were part of what I call the new additions to Blackheart as well as yourself. So you're getting brought along with these guys into another promotion. So again, it shows where you are. Obviously, you've not been.
It's a great crowd to get brought in with. To be fair,
yeah.
Like I don't think there's a bad lick of talent in there whatsoever. It's just hit after hit.
Just bosh. Yep, there we go. Like I said, I could just sit here and talk about the talent and just the future. Like I said, the award itself. I was sat there and I was like, what do I call it? Do I call it like, I don't know. I don't want to call it the up and comers. I don't want to call it the younguns, or I don't want to call it anything. I was like, it's the future. These guys, everybody, every person in that or in that group, in that category, those 16 people are the future of British wrestling for me. So that just kind of made sense. And yeah, that is where, I place you. That's where I place all of those. Just British wrestling at the minute is amazing. And looking at you guys, I've got no fears. It's just going to keep getting better.
Absolutely, it's gonna be great. I mean, hopefully, in some years, you'll see people like George Hunter and Evan Bishop and myself and Joe and Mercer all on Progress and doing something great and moving up in the world. I mean, I don't doubt that those people will be on those shows before we know it. Like Mercer, of all people, is growing so rapidly, and it's freakish because like he's still so fresh in the game as well, and he's just picked it up so naturally, and he's gotten so good at what he does.
It's just, I don't know. I don't want to get shouted at. I don't want to be stereotypical, but it's the Emerald Bruiser. He's got the Irish blood. To quote Finlay, they just love to fight. It just comes naturally. Like you said, he's just picked it up. He just gets to hit people and beat the crap out of them. That's Mercer. I saw him recently. Just went full Mercer. I think I put on socials. Just see Mercer do what Mercer does, and he was like, "That's the first match recently where he's just felt, like he's been able to just go full Mercer." It was like, yeah, mate, that's awesome. I want that as a t-shirt now. Just go full Mercer.
I do. I love working Mercer. Mercer's like so easy to work.
Just again, like I said, it's just that group of people. You guys are just learning from each other, helping each other get better. Obviously, I'm talking Blackheart. I'm going to presume, obviously, it's not just a one-off. I'd like to sort of see you there. It's consistent as well. It's the first Sunday of every month. You've got that in your calendar, something to look forward to. And yeah, Guiseley Theatre, just a quick shout out location. Obviously, you're going from the UKW arena, so you're working in a theatre, mate. That's amazing.
It is, and it's such a great atmosphere as well. I really like working there because the crowd are like right in your face. So like me and Cayman took it to the outside, and I take a punch, and there's someone right there staring at me, and I'm like selling, and I look all ugly, and I'm spitting everywhere, and it's like it's a bit satisfactory to me because I'm like, oh, so they can see that I'm getting the shit kicked out of me, and that's great. Makes my job easier.
That's it. Selling. That's ain't selling, mate. I'm like, yeah, I'm just getting punched in my face. This is real. It's real in Guiseley, damn it. But no, dude, it's just, yeah. I just like I say, it just gets me hyped up. I just look at the way British wrestling is at the minute, and it's generally excitable. Seeing everybody there, and that's me as a fan. I can only imagine, being involved in it. You guys must be picking up on that energy, that electricity. The wealth of talent. Like I said, doing those polls, I got 112. I started off with 112 male wrestlers to try and get down to 16. The fact that I got 112, and that's only across like 4 territories, we'll call it, Northwest, Northeast, Yorkshire, Midlands. We're not talking Scotland, we're not talking Wales, we're not talking down south. So yeah, to be involved in just British wrestling as a whole, it's just got to be exciting.
It is, like, everyone can feel the buzz, and British wrestling is having such a resurgence recently because there's obviously these guys that are coming out, like Leon Slater himself, like man like Darius, North was on what was it, Dragon's Den not so long ago. We're coming back, and I mean British wrestling it's a staple of wrestling itself, in my opinion. British wrestling is really integral to it. And I'm very proud to be a British wrestler. I'm very proud to be from here and growing up in this part of the industry.
Dude, hit the nail on the head. Proud to be a British wrestler. Love it. Because, yeah, like I said, the legacy's there, the history's there from the World of Sport days all the way up to now, just the style itself. You mentioned Darius, obviously Leon Slater, Gabriel Kidd. It's just people after people after people just making it, because that's, again, I'm sorry, mate, I've just clocked the time. I'll say what I'm going to say. We'll finish this off and I'll let you get gone. But again, I don't know when you get into it whether it's just what your dreams are, what you think's achievable. But the more you go on and the more you see other people succeed, it must be like, this can happen. You can you can progress as far as you want to progress in wrestling. You can go to Japan, you can go to Europe, you can go to America, kind of thing. There's nothing stopping you.
I mean, especially Leon Slater is a really big influence for me. Like, I'm really inspired by Leon's story because obviously I was in the same ring as him when I was 9. Like, he probably doesn't have a clue who I am. But when I was like first starting out when I was 9, I saw him there when he was just like coming up, and even then, everyone knew that he was someone special. And just seeing him grow and grow and grow, and now someone who's like, yeah, I won't say from a similar background because he's got his own story, but from a similar place as me, because I always had it in the back of my head, like, I'm just a kid from Batley. Like, who from Batley's going to make it? And then this kid from Bradford down the road from me makes it, and he's on WWE almost every week now with Javon Evans, and he's doing something great, and there's people actually putting him in, like, contendership for AJ Styles' last match. Like, I know I can, if he can do it, and someone from my area can do it, then I can do it. There's nothing that should stop me from being able to do it. And if there's anything that's going to stop me, it's just myself. It's not the system. It's not the people. It's just myself. And I know, as much as I criticize myself, I do believe that I can be something great if I want to be great.
Bosh, there we go, buddy. That's it. That's the mantra. Keep saying that. Keep believing it. Keep thinking it. Say it with passion. Say it with belief. And we'll be talking this conversation that Leon Slater could quite possibly be AJ Styles' last match, mate. I can quite easily say Chris Mason could quite possibly be Kenny Omega's last match, 5 or 6 years down the road. It's not crazy to say because anything is possible in the wonderful world of wrestling.
I mean, it's great. It's absolutely great. I love to be a part of it, and I love the possible future that I have in it. Like, being able to be a huge British name would be absolutely amazing. Like, even running it with Slater at some point, like, he's on my bucket list of wrestlers that I want to fight, and there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to.
Exactly, like Scott said, it's anything is possible. There is no ceiling anymore. It's not like it was 20 years ago when people probably got into wrestling just being like, it is what it is, I'll do it on a weekend. It's not going to lead anywhere, but I love doing it. So, I'm still passionate about it, but they kind of had this preset limit already in place. Whereas now, mate, it's limitless. It's just breaking boundaries. It's just anything and everything is possible. So, dude, I have kept you for longer than I said I would, so apologies for that. But, mate, I just think I'm just sitting there. I'm just going to sit here now and think fantasy book all these kind of crazy ass matches that could happen because it's what I do. But no, mate, honestly, thank you so much for joining me, sitting down, having a chat, talking wrestling. Hopefully you've enjoyed it.
No, that's great. I've had a lot of fun, actually. I've enjoyed it very much.
Also, I kind of feel like I put you on the spot there. Like, did you enjoy it?
No,
mate.
I did. I enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you. Just wait for you to have like, no, mate, shit, are you doing this again? But no, buddy, thank you so much. Obviously, if you want to let people know where they can find you on Instagram and sort of see what matches are coming up, what you've been doing. Check out the reels on Insta, watch the highlights, and let people know where you are.
Well, you can find me, Chris Mason PW, on, I'm pretty sure, TikTok and Instagram, pretty much the same thing. And I do have a YouTube channel where I post clips and full length matches, which is just Chris Mason on YouTube.
I will try and locate that. I will put the link to the YouTube channel in the description. So if you watch this, click on the description, click more, drop it. Then go subscribe to Chris on YouTube. Obviously hit him up on Instagram, give him a follow, keep an eye out on upcoming shows. If you can get to UKW, we will see you there. If you can get to Blackheart, get to Blackheart. First Sunday of every month, like I sort of said, amazing shows, amazing people, great stories, great location. It's £5. That's mind blowing.
Retribution's right around the corner as well on the 22nd of November, so it'd be great to see some people down there. I'm facing Young Horace, which should be a great match.
Didn't even get to talk about Young Horace, obviously. I was talking about stories and getting people emotionally invested and stuff like that. And obviously, last couple of weeks going from tag teaming with him tagging himself in and stealing the W, to then obviously now he wears black because he's a bad guy. It's just you two have mate. This feud is, like I said, it's the retribution is calling.
It should be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
I think he's a guy. Well, obviously you'll work well with. You've kind of got that same energy. When you two, I was not good because I obviously just kind of worked for the story. It left me wanting more. But I think it was last week when you two guys opened the Friday night show, and the match lasted, I think it was about 6 minutes. I was like, no, I need more. But again, I got to presume that was, like I said, just it left me wanting more. It's like, right, okay, I'll go to the pay-per-view to watch the match.
I mean, that's the goal. That's the goal, to try and get asses in seats, and that's what we did.
There you go. You see, I'm just telling you, you've done it very, very well, because I was just generally like, no.
Thank you.
But yeah, obviously hit Chris up on Instagram. As I always say, thank you for watching. Hit like, subscribe, share, comments, all the generic stuff we always ask you to do. Keep your eyes peeled. Obviously, as I said, we've got True Grit on Fridays. That means myself, Dan, and Paul will be here next week to talk all things True Grit. And dude, thank you so much for joining us. And everybody else, remember, always work the left side. Goodbye.